welcome to Hell in the Hallway podcast with your host, Billy. I got a question for you. Do you tend to leave a fragrance or an odor? Now, I'm not really talking about do you stink, right? I'm kind of hoping that answer is a resound no, that you don't stink. What I'm actually referring to is when you leave others, do you leave a fragrance or an odor? And really what that means is when you leave people, are they better than you found them? Or are they a little less whole, a little more broken? And what do I even mean by that? Like what's a fragrance? What's an odor? What are those things? Let's kind of put it together using the three C's. We're going to use a cynical, conceptualize, and a cheat, right? Now I know you know some cynical people. You probably have an idea already in your head on what a cynic is. Cynical people only see the negative side of things all the time. They can't see strength or positiveness in anything. Cynical people are inherently mistrustful of things and of people. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't be a realist. Of course you should, right? And there may be times we find ourselves saying cynical things. I know I do. I'm not always this bag of sunshine. I don't even know that's what I am, really. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what is considered a normal disposition. This is who these people are. These folks darken the lights of others. Cynics actually will take pride in how they operate because their first victim is, you guessed it, it's themselves. See, because they are at war with the world, always assuming the worst of everyone and everything. The cynic looks as though they have tough skin, but actually they're very delicate because they're easily frustrated. I like to call them emotional burn victims. We'll talk more about that. Cynics tend to project what's inside of them, which is broken trust and a severed heart. But people who leave a fragrance, they don't see the world from the viewpoint of darkness. No, because they actively seek out the light, even when it's dark, because that is imperative, not just to survival, but to thrive. People who leave a fragrance are not at war with the world. They're in harmony with it, even when it doesn't feel good. It doesn't make the totality of who they are when they have a bad experience. So which are you? What do you do? Do you leave a fragrance or do you leave an odor? The other idea is conceptualization. Maybe you resist what you cannot conceptualize, therefore it isn't a reality, therefore you reject it. So that means you struggle with anything that's outside your current worldview. And your little sliver, I shouldn't say little, that's not cool. Your sliver of reality, nothing new can get in. People like this tend to discourage themselves from doing anything new, and guess what? They'll discourage others too. So I was working with a client once, and I will never forget that he told me that a person who he loved dearly told him, hey, listen, don't reach too high. You'll just get disappointed. And here's the thing. You would think like, oh, that's terrible. He shouldn't have said that. No, he shouldn't have, but he thought he was coming from a good place. He believed he had his best interests at heart and didn't know what he was actually doing was killing this guy's spirit. This even happened to my daughter. My daughter's pursuing to be a physician, right? You know what a loved one told her? You should be something more realistic. You should go be a nurse. Now, I'm not saying anything's wrong with nurses because I love nurses. I know plenty of nurses. They are amazing. But he thought he was helping her and he wasn't. He was projecting his stuff on her. His dream that wasn't realized, dismissed, failed, or feared. He couldn't see it for himself. Therefore, he couldn't see it for her. And that's not okay. Those who leave a fragrance don't do that. They look to edify and inspire others to their greatest potential, even if themselves haven't achieved it yet, right? And if they have achieved it, it only gives them more motivation, more drive to help and inspire others and keep them rising. We all want to get to the top, right? They're not threatened by others' potentials. They don't seek to sabotage or discourage. I know people who do that. They've gotten a little piece of the corner of the world and they refuse to let anybody else have a piece. People who leave a fragrance, they tend to want others to be the best version of themselves possible. The last one is cheat. Now that's a word we're all familiar with, right? Cheaters tend to take things that don't belong to them, right? You know, we also use it in terms when it comes to relationships, and I'm not really referring to just that. Other words that are connected to cheat, rather, is like swindler, shisty, con artist, crook. It's a long list. I'm not talking about just the idea of that type of cheat. I'm talking about a person without honor. A person of honor is loyal to the right people and to the right things. People with honor are honest, equitable, fair, have respect for themselves and others. This person leaves a fragrance when they're in the room. People with no honor, they can care less how other people feel when they leave them. See, they're not interested in just keeping it 100, like I hear people say. They're interested in the pain. They don't mind hurting people in their quest to help them. You know, sometimes those individuals who are keeping it 100 could have narcissistic tendencies if it's really not about helping others, but about kind of, let me kick you while you're down, right? We all mess up every now and then. That's normal. But people who leave a fragrance, this person, they shine their light. And it gives other people's permission for their light to shine as well. People leave an odor, they bring out the worst in people. And actually, their light can dim when that other person is around, right? I want my light to be enhanced when a person is around, and I want to enhance somebody else's light. People with a fragrance remind others of who they can be, even if that person can't see it yet. They're amazing people to be around, and I've had some amazing people who I consider leave a fragrance in my life. It is possible, if you leave an odor all the time, you have some underlying pain that needs to be addressed. You got some stuff. And there's some ways to figure out which one you are, right? Maybe ask people. Ask those around you, those who really, truly care about you, who support you, who love you, or just gain some self-awareness. Do you notice that you speak negatively most of the time? Do you notice you're always, and when I say devil's advocate, I don't mean really trying to give multiple perspectives. I mean always looking to the dark side, you know? How can you handle this? How can you deal with it? And that's not the normal stuff that I talk about. You want to engage your spiritual world, your friends, your families, groups. There's plenty of self-help books. I will always endorse counseling. We have a duty to help you see your reflection and process how you want to change it. Or you can do a combination of all of them, really. So there you have it, my friends. There are those who leave an odor. There are those who leave a fragrance. Which are you? Which one do you leave when people are around you? Just remember, it's not always about the destination. It is also about revelation.